Hi students, in this video we will discuss about files. So first let us discuss what is a file. Here a file is a collection of related data. A file is a collection of related data. That is, here we use files for storing the data permanently. In order to store the data permanently, we use files. For example, so in the previous programs, whatever we have executed, those we have saved, that we call it as a file. So that file contains the code related to that particular program. Similarly, in the files concept, what we do here is whatever the output our program is producing, that output will be stored permanently. We will store the output of this particular program will be stored permanently in a file. Till now what we used to do, whenever we run our program, that output will be displayed on screen. Then if we close that window, that output will be erased. Now by using files concept, whatever the data, like our programs, whatever the data our output our program is producing, that output we will be saving permanently. So that is the main purpose of files. Here, in order to store this data, we have different functions are available. We'll discuss one by one. Now, first the files are mainly divided into two types. One is text file, the other one is binary file. So text files are again divided into two types. One is formatted text file, the other one is unformatted text file. Now here, unformatted text file. What is unformatted text file? So in unformatted text file, so whatever the data we are storing, it will consider, so it will store in the form of characters. That is, every letter will be treated as, suppose if we have stored a number called 153, it will consider it as 1 as one character, 5 as one character, and 3 as one character. So every digit is considered as a character here. That is unformatted text file. In the file, whatever the data you store, so every digit or every alphabet is treated as a single character. That is unformatted text. In unformatted text file, the data will be stored in the form of characters. Now what is formatted text file? These formatted text files are used for storing the data types. Like example, so if you want to store some numbers or integer value, so here every number is treated as a separate integer value. Now suppose if you want to store 1 to 10, so 1 to 10 the numbers will be stored separately. 1 to 10 the numbers will be stored here individually or separately. Now similarly, one more example I will tell you here. For in formatted data type, suppose if you want to store the student details, like I want to store student ID, student name, and marks of a student, then here what we do here is, so it will store ID as integer, name as a string, and marks as a integer. So we can store the different data types, we can store directly, and we can retrieve the different data types directly. Like student ID, so like example 101, it will consider it as an integer. Name, so let us take the name as Sachin. So here the Sachin is treated as a string, and marks like 556, so it will consider it as a integer again. That is, the data will be stored in the form of data types. That is formatted text files we call. Now there is one drawback in formatted text files. The drawback or the problem here is every record, here this one student detail we call it as one record. Here every record, that is every student record, will occupy different sizes of memory in formatted text file. So to rectify this problem, the binary files have been introduced. In binary files, what happens is every record occupies equal amount of memory. That is, why it occupies equal, why it will not occupy difference here is, here in binary files what we do here is, we will take one structure, the student details will be stored with the help of a structure type variable. Whereas here in formatted text files, the data types we will store individually, whereas in binary files we will create one structure and the data will be stored with the help of that structure variable. That is why, as every structure variable occupies equal amount of memory, so in binary files every record occupies equal amount of memory. And as it occupies equal amount of memory, random accessing is possible in binary files. Random accessing means, suppose let us assume that in my file there are 100 records are available. So I want to access the 50th record. Directly we can jump to 50th record and we can access. Whereas here in formatted text files, as the size of each record is different, so we cannot expect at which location the 50th record will be available. Here, as 50th record is available in, that is size of one record into the 50th record, n if you multiply, that is n minus 1 if you multiply, so size of one record into n minus 1th record, it will move to that particular location. That is, it will move to the beginning of the nth record, it will jump. That is the advantage with binary files. One more advantage with binary files is it stores the data in unreadable format. Binary files will store the data in unreadable format. Even if you open that file will not, the content of that file we cannot read. These are the advantages of binary files. In binary files, the data will be returned using structures or with the help of the structures. Whereas in formatted files, individually we will store the data. This is the difference between text file and binary file. What are the differences? So in text file, the data will be stored in the form of data types. In binary files, the data will be stored with the help of structure. So the data available in the formatted text file or in text files we can read, but in the data available in binary files we cannot read. Random accessing is not possible in formatted text files, whereas random accessing is possible in binary files. Now it stores the data in readable format, and here it stores the data in unreadable format. So these are the differences between text file and binary file we can call. So in order to perform the operations on files, we have some file handling functions. Now let me show you some file handling functions. So with the help of these functions only we will operate on files. The first function here is fopen. So this function is used to open a file. Then we have another function called fclose. So the open function will be closed with the help of a function called fclose. This function is used to close a file. Then we have a function called fgetc. This function is used for reading a single character from a file. In order to read one character from a file, we use a function called fgetc. Then we have a function called fputc, which is used for writing a character to a file, writing one character to a file. Then we have a function called fgetS, which is used for reading a line of text from a file at a time. Then we have a function called fputs, which is used for writing a line of text to a file, writing line at a time to a file. Then so all these functions, this fgetc, fputc, it will treat it as in the form of unformatted text files. To work on unformatted text files, we use these functions. Then we have the functions called fprintf and fscanf, which is used for working on formatted text files. fprintf is used for writing the formatted data to a file. In order to write the formatted data to a file, we use fprintf. And fscanf, which is used for reading the formatted data from a file. In order to read, generally scanf we use for reading from keyboard, but fscanf is used for reading the data from a file. In order to read the data from a file, we use fscanf. Then we have functions called fread and fwrite. These functions are used to read and write on binary files. fread is used for reading the data from a binary file, and fwrite, which is used for writing the data to a binary file. Then we have some file positioning functions called ftell. It will return the current position of the file pointer. Then we have a function called seek, this function is used to reposition a file. So this is very important function. So fseek, random accessing is possible only with the help of this function. With the help of this function only random accessing is possible, that is fseek. Then we have a function called rewind. So this function will take the control to the beginning of the file, that is it will take the file pointer again to the beginning of the file, that is rewind function. Then we have a function called f getW. So we have a function called getW and putW. These functions are used for writing integers to a file and reading integers from a file. F putW, I think it is f putW and f getW. So it is used for writing integers and reading integers from a file. Let us see each function individually with example. Okay, thank you for watching. In the next video we will discuss about file modes. Okay, thank